What's up, guys, and welcome back to another episode of Club and Country. It's episode number 12, and we're starting today's episode with transfer deadline day with around 1.75 to £2 million, depending on wage budget alteration in our budget. And I decided to make one more signing to the club on transfer deadline day. I also made 5 signings for the new season. I think the one I'm most excited about is probably Bella Kotchap, although I must admit I like Rocco Wright, who we picked up on a free transfer on the bench. And speaking of free transfers, that was our signing on transfer deadline day. Gökhan Gül, who I'd been scouting, he was released and was available on a free, and I picked him up on a pretty cheap wage. 66 overall, 23 years old, holding mid by trade, possibly with 84 jumping and 75 strength, medium high work rates and decent defensive stats. He could be turned into, I mean, you guys know what I'm going to say, a ball-playing defender. You know I love those ball-playing defenders. At 5'11" though, is he tall enough to play centre-back? It's one of those things where it's like, he's 1 inch shorter than the threshold. I mean, come on now, like, there are plenty of guys out there that complain about this 6 foot plus threshold on Tinder for the girls that they're going after, but is 5'11" tall enough for a centre-back? I'm doing the same sort of thing now. Is 5'11" tall enough to be centre-back? Probably not, and in this team with a back three as well, you could probably get away with it, to be honest, but I'm not too sure. As a holding mid, though, looks pretty decent. Bags of energy, looks pretty solid. As a squad player, that's where he'll be. And on a free transfer, I'll certainly take it. So, as deadline day would end, you saw some really major moves there, including Pogba going to Barcelona. I've got to be honest, very happy with the things we did in the window. Brought in 2 really great young prospects in. Gadikli from Bayer Leverkusen. He looks fantastic as a backup striker. Yet to get his first goal for the club, but I'm sure it's going to come not before long. And, of course, the star who I mentioned earlier there, Bella Kotchap as well, coming in. Obviously, defensively, to start the season off of being quite poor, but that's not a real surprise because you know how bad I am defending. And of course, I mentioned at the very start of the series, you know, playing a 3 at the back is not my sort of system at all, so it's going to take time for me to adjust to that and learn how to play well with this sort of formation. But Bella Kotchap is pretty decent regardless. And also, you might notice as well, as I'm going through the Youth Scout Monthly report here, I did decide to send my Youth Scout out. I normally do wait until the transfer window is over if I don't do it on the first official day of the season. And you might notice as well, I always do it on the first of the month as well. And the reason why is because I don't like to have a scouting update midway through a month. As you see, our fixtures for September here, including Braunschweig and also Freiburg as well. I don't like to do it midway through the season because it disrupts the flow of the games, if you know what I mean. When we're going through the season, we're going through the months, and then midway through on like the 12th of the month or whatever, we've got free scouting updates. I'm doing free scouting updates, or of course in this series, just a 1 scouting update, Scouting Germany. I prefer to do it in the very first of the month because the added bonus to that is that if you do pick up a player to your academy, you can see him straight away in the academy report, check his overall, check his potential straight away, and then decide if you want to promote him or release him as well. It's totally your choice. So yeah, that's why I like doing it on the first of the month. I know some people like to do it midway through or at the end of a month, but I personally prefer doing it on the first of the month so it syncs up nicely with the academy update as well. Still, for the first game of today's episode, Osnabruck here at Dresden, aiming to make it back-to-back wins after a pretty tough start to the season. Obviously, I discussed it in the last episode, 2 wins in our first 5 games. That's actually, to be honest, that's pretty poor, isn't it? That's really, really poor considering the start of the season I was saying, oh yeah, we're going for the title again. Yeah, pretty poor start to the season for Dresden, no doubt about it. So heading to this game here, back at home, aiming to make it back-to-back wins, and our first win at home in the league this season, and we would win it by 2-0 as well. Ransford Yeboah once again getting a goal alongside Albert Simon in the early stages as well. I don't know whether Ransford Yeboah is going to have a chance at hitting 30 goals, let alone 40 this season. I think it is going to be tougher for me to get him goals on a consistent basis as opposed to last season where we were competing in the lowest tier of German football, but I have no doubt about he will adapt to this division and be our top scorer once again. I've made him captain for this season. Whether he remains club captain or not for the indefinite future, I don't know, but after last season he certainly deserves to wear the armband, and again, he's still my star player, he's still my boy, and I still believe for sure he's the guy that will get us the goals we need to get us back into form, or into form I should say, for the first time this season, and try and challenge for a top 3 place. And speaking of, right on cue, second game of today's episode, Braunschweig away from home. Tough first half, really couldn't create any chances at all, but right before the first half whistle would signal the end of the first 45 minutes, it's that man again, Ransford Yeboah makes it 1-0, great piece of dribbling and the finish as well. And then 9 minutes after the restart, oh, this was so cool. Now I'm going to be honest here, guys, I did not mean this one bit. Julian Guttau scores his first goal of the season. Now you might not have seen it initially, but watch this this on the replay, this is totally unintentional. Now, that is Thierry Henry-esque, but believe me, I did not mean to do that at all. At first, I thought he scuffed it, and the goalkeeper just totally miscued, but instead, it was a wonderful little flair finish there. Totally unintentional. I'm not going to try and play it off and act like I meant it. No, I really didn't, but either way, it looks so cool as he makes it 2-0 his first goal of the season. And then in stoppage time as well, this was really cool to see. Discussed him earlier, Gdikli, who we signed from Bayer Leverkusen, the teenage talent with the 72 finishing already, gets his first goal for the club in stoppage time and makes it 3-0 right towards the end. So yeah, 3-0 the final score there, and also 3 straight wins for Dynamo Dresden as well. And after a very tough start to the season, this is more like it. So for the third game of today's episode here, Freiburg, as we return back home. One of the stronger sides, I'd think, in the second tier of Germany, heading to take us on here in Dresden. But 26 minutes in, well, Ransford Yabal is off to a great start this season, but so is this guy, Albert Simon, the star out of the academy, looking really decent indeed. As we know, now has the potential to be special. Last year had a ridiculous amount of assists. I think it was 20 assists and 10 goals in this season. And there's yet another goal from the start of the season off. Already, I think, goal number 3 this season for our number 8. So 1-0 Dresden, 9 minutes after the restart, Diawusi scores, I think, his second goal of the campaign to make it 2-0. And then 20 minutes to go, still leading by 2. Rocco Wright's off the bench, dinks it through, and there's Gdikli to make it 3 and complete the rout with 20 minutes to go. So 2 goals in 2 games for our new number 23. And obviously last season, we know Daphne and Ransford Yeboah had an amazing strike partnership. They worked so well together. Daphne took a while to get going, but when he did get going, he turned out to be a great support striker for Ransford Yeboah. And don't forget, got 30 assists last season. But obviously we're prioritising the future, and Daphne is still quite young, in his early 20s, but I think I probably will start Gdikli ahead of Daphne alongside Ransford Yeboah, because again, we're prioritising the future. Gdikli's going to have more potential. He's already got 72 finishing at such a young age, and again, 2 goals in 2 games there. Daphne and Ransford have a great partnership, but we want to maximise the potential of the youngsters we've got in this team, and the best way to do that is give them more first-team football. So I think Gdikli will probably start ahead of Daphne this season, but regardless, on the back of 4 straight wins, much better turnaround for Dresden after a really poor start. 2 wins in 5, but now we are where we want to be, in the top 3 right now, with 16 points on the board. A look at a scouting update for the first time this season, and an academy update as well. I must say, I'm quite excited about Casper. Leo Casper looks very decent indeed as a centre-back. Once he hits 60 overall, I'll promote him and check out his potential. And also, Theodore Moller did hit 60 overall. This is the right midfielder we promoted in the last episode. He looks really decent. Again, he's got a high defensive work rate. He shows great potential. He looks pretty solid, so I handed him his debut in the final game of today's episode against Viktoria Koln, who came up with us last season, finishing in 2nd in the 3rd tier. The team who went to the playoffs, by the way, failed to win the playoffs, so it was just us and Viktoria Koln who got promoted to 2 Liga for this season. But yeah, Viktoria Koln, who finished runners-up last season, coming up with us to the 2 Liga. Did give Moller his debut in this game in the right midfield role, and heading into it, worst possible start, 27 minutes in, already trailing by a goal, so really, really poor start. Our win streak looking as though it would be over after just 4 games, but we'll get back on level terms 29 minutes in, and it was that man again, 3 and 3 for the teenage talent Gdikli. He looks so good, and again, I pointed out that the 72 finishing at such a young age, if he continues to develop that stat, come the end of the season at just 19 years old, he could have 80 finishing already. He looks like a pure goal scorer, and with 3 and 3, it's looking like that way as well. So Viktoria Koln would respond right before the break and make it 2-1 and restore their lead. In the second half, couldn't create any chances at all, was really struggling, so I made a double change. I brought on Som off the bench, and also Conte, who of course we signed from Feyenoord in the summer. Of course, this season we've been playing Gutau on the right and Diawusi on the left. Conte's mostly been coming off the bench, but this is why I've been bringing him off the bench, because he has got the injection of pace and the fresh legs we need in situations like these, and that's why, again, having him as an impact sub is far more beneficial than a starter in this team. Storm's down the right hand side, first involved is to use that pace, play it across, and there's Som to score off the bench with his first touch of the game to make it 2-2, and then in the final minute of normal time, Diawusi storms forward 1-on-1, and I'm sorry guys, but I had to do it. I wanted to extend the win streak to 5, and I would. Albert Simon wraps it up in stoppage time. I talked about it at length in the last episode. Late goals, so common in this year's FIFA, and you love to see it as well. The Comeback Kings do it once again, training from 2 goals to 1 to win it 3-2 at the death. Som and then Albert Simon, after an amazing start of the season, makes it 3-2. Yes, it was a cutback. Yes, it was sweaty. Yes, I felt a little bit dirty doing it, but you know what? I'm sorry, Viktoria Koln. I know you'll probably be down the bottom of the table this year, struggling to stay up, but show no mercy for the team that came with us last season. We're into second place on the back of 5 straight wins. 19 points. Union Berlin, after an incredible start, still undefeated and 6 points clear already, but really good streak for Dynamo Dresden. Much better than a difficult start. Let's make sure it continues. But well, into this episode of Club and Country, guys, a big thank you for watching. Hope you have enjoyed it. If you have, then please do drop a like. Most of you all have a fantastic day, and I'll see you for the next episode of Club and Country. Wait for it. Wait for it. Very soon. Bye, guys.